Okay, picture this. You're living 36 feet below the surface of the Caribbean Sea. And I'm not talking about a quick scuba dive, I mean living there. Today we're going to dive into one man's incredible underwater journey and the kind of wild, super controversial dream that put him there. So what is really going on 36 feet under the sea?
So that's Rüdiger Koch. He's a 59-year-old German aerospace engineer, and when he's talking about his excellent booze, he's saying it from inside this tiny 300-square-foot pod at the bottom of the ocean. I mean, the guy's got a bed, an exercise bike, even Starlink internet down there. He insists it's anything but a prison.
And yeah, this wasn't just some weekend trip. He was trying to live down there for 120 days straight. The goal? To totally smash the Guinness World Record. But, this wasn't just some personal quest. This was a really high-stakes publicity stunt for a much, much bigger idea.
So that's the big question, right? Why would a successful engineer lock himself in an underwater box for 4 months? Well, the answer gets into this huge, kind of radical idea, the dream of seasteading. So what exactly is seasteading? At its heart, it's all about creating brand new societies out on the ocean. We're talking permanent homes, communities, totally outside the control of any government. It's a big idea with some deep libertarian roots, pushing this vision where you can, as they say, vote with your boat. If you don't like the rules where you are, you just sail away to another floating city. But this whole dream of living on the sea, it's not exactly new. It's been floating around for like over a century. You see it pop up in science fiction, like with Jules Verne, and even in these quirky real-world attempts like the Principality of Sealand. But things got really serious back in 2008 when billionaire Peter Thiel threw his weight and his money behind it, backing the founding of the Seasteading Institute.
And the company that actually put Koch in that underwater pod, they're called Ocean Builders. And they're the brainchild of this very interesting trio of independently wealthy guys. You've got Koch himself, the engineer. Then there's Chad Elwertovsky, an American who got in early on Bitcoin, and Grant Rommint, a Canadian tech entrepreneur who's on this personal anti-aging journey. I mean, what a crew to be building the future, right?
But as you can probably guess, trying to build a whole new world on the water, it's been anything but smooth sailing. That utopian vision has time and again just crashed right into the rocks of reality, controversy, and, international law.
And this is where you really see the huge gap between the dream and the messy reality. The Seasteaders, they talk a great game, right? Startup societies, eco-forward housing. But their critics, they see something totally different. They're calling it a vanity project of the rich, or even apartheid of the worst kind. The idea that the wealthy can just escape to their ocean enclaves and, as one critic put it, just sneer at the rest of the world. And the history of Ocean Builders is, well, it's pretty dramatic. Back in 2019, Chad Elwertovsky and his partner dropped their very first pod just off the coast of Thailand. It was just outside territorial waters, and Elwertovsky started posting these videos online, basically taunting the government. Well, the response was not subtle. The Thai military accused them of threatening national sovereignty. The couple literally had to flee on a sailboat to avoid going to prison, becoming international fugitives overnight. Okay, so what was their next big move? Well, it didn't go much better. During the pandemic, they bought a cheap cruise ship. The plan? A permanent crypto-utopia floating off the coast of Panama. But the reality of, costs and regulations, it sank the whole project, fast. It led to all these headlines saying they had, and I quote, bungled everything. But the controversies, they take a much, much darker turn. According to a pretty explosive report in the Financial Times, a deeply paranoid Rüdiger Koch allegedly tried to hire a private investigator to assassinate a Thai naval officer, the same officer he blamed for seizing their first pod. Now, Koch just dismisses the whole thing. He dryly asked if he was supposed to kill the Thai government one by one. But the investigator, a guy named Cobus Stein, he tells a very different story. He says that while Koch never explicitly used the word hitman, and I'm quoting here, if he claims he never expected me to act in such a capacity, he is lying. That is a seriously disturbing allegation just hanging over this entire project. And that brings us right back to where we started, with Koch sitting at the bottom of the sea. After all the failures, the public ridicule, and these really dark allegations, this whole world record attempt, it was their one big shot at a massive PR win. And you know what? They got it. On January 24th, Koch officially broke the record. He came out of that pod, triumphantly leaping into the water. And the story was everywhere, covered by news outlets all over the world. For Ocean Builders, this was a PR bonanza.
It totally shifted the story from fugitives and failures to futuristic pioneers.
And it really seems like that PR win did the trick, because they are pushing forward full steam ahead, despite everything. The plan now is to turn Koshik's little habitat into a marine science facility. But even bigger, they've apparently been contracted to build 20 of their sea pods for a planned floating city in the Maldives. And they're hoping to get the price tag down from a cool $6 million to just over $1 million.
So this really gets to the heart of it all, doesn't it? Are we looking at a real blueprint for the future, a genuine solution for coastal living, maybe an answer to rising sea levels and broken politics? Or is this just an incredibly expensive, super elaborate fantasy for a handful of rich people to escape the problems the rest of us have to deal with back on land?
In the end, maybe Coach himself said it best. After spending 120 days listening to what he called the Darwinian drama of the sea life right outside his window, he was reflecting on the whole experience. And his thought kind of sums up the entire challenge perfectly. They can engineer the pods, sure, but can they engineer a soul for these new worlds? It seems like the one guy who spent 4 months at the bottom of the sea knows that's one question that technology alone is never going to answer.